Live on the tube. Good morning, YouTube. Once again, if you're not here on Saturday, April 18th, and watching the main show right away, you have about 10 minutes. You can fast forward 10 minutes, fast forward that son of a gun, and you can get to the real live radio part of the program. So there you have it. What else is going on in the YouTube side of things here today? Not a whole hell of a lot here. Finally, a little warmer temperatures, not as warm as yesterday, but a lot less windy, hopefully, today because it's plenty windy. Another beautiful Saturday morning. Get adjusted. Might need to put some lubrication in my mic boom here. Don't have those professional ones like they have in Mobridge. High dollar mic booms. What else is going on here? I suppose I better get my soundtracks. Make sure they're ready to go. Ready? Phones ready? Good morning, Darren Mund. Good morning, Karen. Good to see you guys this morning. Hope all is well in Hazen and in Mobridge. I need to turn that. Check 1, 2. There we go. That is happening. Hey, Darren, did you you sent me I got your text or something late on last Saturday. Did you catch some northerns or what? What's happening up there for northerns? Northern. The prairie dog of the water. Or is that a carp or a drum? Probably a drum, carp. Maybe the northern can be known as the grouse of the water. Let's see here. Okay. Facebook folks, if you're watching this and you want to get in touch with me, feel free to send me a private message on Facebook Messenger if you want to friend me, because if I don't know you, there's a lot of trolls out there wondering if they can have a piece of my information. So send me a message. Let me know you're not a whack job or something like that. And I'll still research you. Like this guy. Not a whole lot of information there. Throws up a red flag. Sorry. Let's see. Darren says it was quiet. It was really quite last weekend. I'm guessing quiet, but I got a message this morning. My buddy already caught one pushing 20 pounds. Nice. Nice. 20-pounder. I'm guessing most of that shore fishing. Not haven't seen much. I suppose the walleye bite's going to start freaking picking up here pretty quick here on Lake Oahe, Sakakawacker. Oh, KGFX, good morning. Sunny and heading for 62 today. Good for you. What does mine say today? It's sunny right now, but it's going to be, as you can see in my window, it's going to be cloudy today, a high of 50. And there you go. Not as warm as southern, closer to the equator. Most of the fishing is shore. Okay, cool. All right, here. Well, I'm going to get, we have Ron Ness from the Petroleum Council on today. So if you have questions, what's happening with the oil price, if you like your gas prices right now, which is a catch-22 because I filled all my diesel and gasoline on the ranch here, of course, before that went down. And now I have no space to put more unless I buy another tank. But honestly, then I'm back up to paying what I paid anyway. So there you go. So we're going to talk about what that's going on. We got turkey talk today. Let's see. Tree programs. If you want to plant some trees, good year to do that. And all that good stuff. So how you holding out for this coronavirus? Okay. What did they say on Facebook? North and South Dakota calls it when all this crap is over instead of the COVID. Hopefully you're holding good. It has not changed much for me. Oh, Game and Fish is doing flyovers for mule deer survey studies right now. So if you hear a plane, they've been every morning when I'm checking cows, they've been buzzing around trying to, I'm guessing, get it done before the wind picks up because it is the Badlands. Let's call Ron Ness. Let's oops, I gotta find his number first, probably, huh? There it is. Let's go here. You can hear it just like the old school radio shows. You can hear it right here live as we do this. Why don't you go to voicemail? We got 701.
Well, good morning.
Good morning, Ron Ness. You're live with me on YouTube already, so just a warning.
Well, I'm pulling a Scott Bachmeyer this morning. I am sitting out on my patio. For some reason, I'm not at my ranch, but I got up with my dogs, and now I'm sitting out overlooking the creek behind my place, and the geese are flying, and the sun's coming up, and it's a beautiful day.
It is. Isn't it nice to get up in the morning? I love mornings. I really do. And mostly because it's usually the calmest part of the day. And you get everything started getting rock and rolling that way. So right now, looking out on Bullion Butte, it is still sunny. I see some clouds coming in from the north, but yeah, it's nice and calm right now. Loving it.
Yeah, I had no breeze yet. I think the wind is going to howl today, but
we had a bad one yesterday, Ron. Jeez.
Well, it'll dry her out a little bit. It felt like the wind was howling yesterday. I was in town. You couldn't really tell that.
I suppose
it was that bad, but it was.
Yeah, we had I was working on a welding project, and that didn't work out so well. Even inside, there's enough cracks and everything in the building to keep the wind blowing pretty good.
I would be out turkey hunting today, but well, it looks.
You're on with me instead.
Yeah, kind of. And then I said I was going to do yard work today instead. So otherwise, I'd have been out, Scott. So doing an outdoor show, stopping a guy from being outdoors. Right?
I know. That's the hardest thing with this program is finding somebody that wants to talk outdoors during hunting season on a Saturday morning.
Yeah,
that's tough. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to do a recorded one. I try to stay away from that. So
I'm just drawing a blank today. What is the term for the disease affecting our deer?
Well, EHD or blue dung or chronic waste disease.
Chronic waste.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I kept coming up with EHD, and I don't know why I was just drawing a blank. We had to discuss that a little bit. We've been doing some mule deer work on that, but boy, that's a serious.
How much of it is it a farce? I mean, I talked to a lot of people that all over the country, some really high up, studying this really scientifically, and they say that it's not nearly as bad as what people say. So I don't know. I don't know who to believe anymore, man.
It's really getting passed by the wolves and those animals over in Wyoming and now up into Montana, and I think it's a pretty serious deal. And anything just like mad cow disease, until you have some information and you put people at risk, number one of is their deer safe to eat and things like that, I think it becomes a real serious issue. But I can get you Miles or somebody some Saturday morning to discuss it. It'd be with a lot more detail than me. I can kind of tee it up today, but that'd be a really good topic because I think people got to understand that this is the one thing that has the ability to, change our deer hunting for a long time. And
Yeah.
there are states out there that want to just absolutely shoot every buck there is.
Oh,
Try
they
and-
had,
try and, stop it.
Minnesota put down a big slaughter last year. I mean, big time.
Yeah.
We got
and in the hands.
Geez, excuse me. We got 40 seconds here on. I'm going to turn you down, and I'm going to switch mine over and try to clear my throat before we get going here. So stand by. All right, stations here. 15-second mark on mark. 15 seconds. Holy cow. Let's hope that doesn't happen while we're on the air. And here we go. In 5. Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Saturday edition of Dakota Prairie Outdoors. I'm Scott Bachmeyer. I'll be your host here for the next hour, talking everything outdoors. And I encourage you to call in and join in on the conversation. It's free. 888-9-DAKOTA. That's 888-932-5682. Again, 888-932-5682, 5682. And come on in and join in on the conversation. A couple of events going on, couple bull sales. Yes, we're still going to host them next Friday. The Medicine Rocks Angus Ranch out of Ekalaka, Montana is going to be hosting their sale, not only live at the Beaumont Auction Market, but they're going to be doing it online for the first time as well. For those of you that are maybe trying to quarantine yourself a little bit more, and you can go to frontierlivesale.com. That's, again, frontierlivesale.com for the Medicine Rocks and Spring Angus sale coming up next Friday. And the second sale for the Urlacher Ranch is going to be June 1st. I think the country will be back up and running by then, hopefully. Again, at the Beaumont Auction Market, he's going to be selling 25 head of his late calving bulls. These are going to be about 18 to 24-month-old virgin bulls. Never been offered for sale before, so there you go. The Urlacher Ranch. You can find either one, the Medicine Rocks or Urlacher Ranch, on Facebook for more information and their websites. So there you go. Coming up today here, my guest is Mr. Ron Ness this morning, president of the North Dakota Petroleum Council. Ron, good morning. How the heck have you been, sir?
Well, good morning, Scott. I'm doing just fine this morning. I got up early and took my dogs for a walk, and it's beautiful. And I'm kind of pulling a Scott Bachmeyer. I'm sitting out on my deck with a cup of coffee, looking over a creek behind my house, listening to the geese. And, I'd probably be out turkey hunting today if it wasn't for you scheduled me up this morning to be on this show. But
I asked politely when I asked you, I said, what Saturday would work for you? So I have to give a little disclaimer there. So isn't it nice? You're one of the few that have been sitting on my front porch here, which is also known as the bunkhouse or the studio, where I'm surrounded by windows overlooking Bullion Butte in the Badlands of North Dakota here. So you're one of the rare people that have been here in the plush studios of Dakota Prairie Outdoors. Need to come.
Well, I'm going to take that as an invite, Scott.
Yeah,
I'm going to next time I'm going to do your show is going to be in about a month or two, and come out and I'm going to clean up that prairie dog mess you've got out there a little bit, and we'll do another show. How's that sound?
I love it. I love it. Prairie dogs, man. I tell you what, they do well in any kind of weather, and right now they're getting closer and closer to having that first batch of pups in May. So plenty of shooting. Make sure you bring plenty of ammunition.
Well, I think my biggest surprise about prairie dogs is I understood prairie dogs a little bit, but the destruction that they do to your pastures is just it's just amazing from year to year. When I come out and see you, it's crazy. How many acres do you think that they grow in that one pasture a year?
Well, let's see. I would say probably about anywhere from 5 to 10 acres easily is what I would probably recommend. I know which pasture you're talking about, because it used to be the size that it is now. It used to be just a fraction of that, but they grow pretty quickly. So need more ammunition. And now they're looking at making it harder to buy ammunition, Ron. Might have to get a special permit to do this.
You might have to start making your own. Maybe you got a lot of. I bet you could find a lot of spent 223 shells out there.
There's a lot of brass. Well, let's get talking here. You are the president of the North Dakota Petroleum Council. Explain to folks what the Petroleum Council actually does. in retrospect here to everyday life?
Thanks, Scott. We're a membership organization. We represent over 700 companies that do business in North Dakota's oil and gas industry, and that can be everybody from a tech company in Fargo or Joe's Welding in Rame, North Dakota, or the producers like Marathon, Hess, XTO, Kraken, North Dakota producers, North Dakota Landmen, North Dakota service companies, and everybody that touches the industry. We represent their interests in North Dakota. We provide education, training, and in the last 3 months, we've been providing a fair amount of counseling.
Yeah.
Done a lot of work on trying to try and help these companies understand the CARE Act and try and get some of those companies through some of these tough times, and the PPP program and other type of programs that really. What I'm looking at is the access to capital, and in the oil and gas industry, it all starts with the producer because they attract the money in North Dakota. And when we're running at full throttle, we need about $20 million a day of capex from somewhere in the world. And the banks and the investors and Wall Street and those people have gotten extremely skittish. And of course, I think they're going to get a little more skittish. So we got to get these producers through this rough time because they're the ones that go out and they hire Joe's Welding and Bob's Wireline and the guys that bring out the sanitary services and the IT and everything you can imagine. It all starts with drilling new wells, and we're seeing that drilling rig count plummet since about around the end of March. We had 50. I think we had 55 drilling rigs operating. I think we lost 7 at the end of this week. We're down to 28. That's lower than we got in 2014.
Yeah.
Barrel of Bakken oil was, the market price was $19, but if you're trying to sell a barrel of Bakken oil for June or July right now, you're probably looking at $4 or $5, Scott. That's a Starbucks cup of coffee for one of the biggest valued commodity barrels in the world. So we're seeing wells get shut in. We've shut in, I think the number this week was 4,600 wells. That's roughly 24% of all of the wells that we have in the state, and around 260,000 barrels of oil that's been shut in. And I would say it's going to get a lot higher in terms of shut-ins because we're just not using any gasoline in this world. We're using some diesel fuel, but in a barrel of Bakken oil, you get a tremendous amount of diesel fuel, but you get a lot of gasoline and a lot of jet fuel, and that's why refiners like it, and that's why the world likes it. But where's your jet fuel going today? It's going nowhere. Where's your gasoline going? They're just about giving gasoline away at the rack right now. If you pull up to a terminal with a tanker truck, because they want to try and make gasoline or diesel fuel, so the refiners are beginning to throttle back their production. Coming into spring, I think that's something that North Dakotans going to have to watch because we're going to start using a lot of diesel fuel on the tractors, I suspect. Yeah. And we got to have a market for this gasoline. And storage is getting full in terms of crude oil across the world. And you saw that the Saudis and the OPEC folks are now sending a lot of big vessels this way full of crude oil. And before that agreement took place last weekend. So it's going to be a rough road, Scott. So thank God for the great outdoors.
Well, here's the thing about, you see a lot of people on social media bragging about the price of gas right now, how cheap it is. And so is there any light at the end of the tunnel when it comes to that oil and gas because of the price right now or not?
Well, it's great to have cheap gasoline, but who's using it? I think I've filled my tank. I've got 5 cars sitting in my parking lot today, and I don't think I've filled any of those cars in the last 4 weeks. So, cheap gasoline comes at a tremendous cheap giveaway gasoline like this comes at a tremendous cost in the state of North Dakota, and we're gonna find that out, unfortunately, in terms of jobs and economic activity and tax benefits to all of us. I was talking about sales tax the other day, and everybody understands that the oil and gas production taxes, it's about $2 billion a year.
Hold on, Ron. Let's hold on for the sales tax until the second part of the break here, okay? We're up against the clock here, so stand by with me. Ron Ness from the North Dakota Petroleum Council is with me. We're talking everything outdoors, including oil and gas, because that has a lot to do with the agricultural impact and hunting and outdoor impact. And we'll come back and talk more about that right after these messages. And you're listening to Dakota Prairie Outdoors. This is the Saturday edition, all across the Northern Plains and on YouTube. Back after this. Medicine Rocks Angus Ranch Annual Production Sale, April 24th, 1 o'clock Mountain Time at the Bowman Auction Market, Bowman, North Dakota. Selling 85 head of bulls and 70 head of fancy commercial heifers. I talked to the folks at Medicine Rocks about birth weights. And when you're calving heifers, you want to sleep all night long.
Well, we expect our heifers to be able to do it on their own. We also don't push to any extremes. We believe in everything in moderation. Ideally, I'd like to see every calf hit the ground between 75 and 85 pounds out of our heifers. We just shoot for moderation in everything, and we sure don't have to touch many heifers, that's for sure.
Longevity, good udders, and structure to help you make a profit. You'll find that when you invest in Medicine Rocks Angus Ranch Annual Production Sale coming up April 24th, 1 p.m. at the Bowman Auction Market. You can find more information at medicinerocksranch.com and find them on Facebook. Remember, it's not just about the pounds, it's about efficient pounds.
Hi, this is Andy Murdoch with Pfeiffer's Auctioneers, inviting you to any one of these exceptional upcoming farm retirement equipment auctions featuring Pfeiffer's Auction Center of North America's annual spring auction, featuring a large inventory of farm, ranch, and construction equipment with lots of semis, vehicles, and recreational equipment. Pfeiffer's is also hosting farm retirement and estate auctions in April and May in Jamestown, Crosby, Voltaire, Animus, Rolette, Tuttle, Gladstone, Bismarck, Robinson, and Belle Fourche. For full inventory and online bidding on dozens of land and equipment auctions throughout the upper Midwest, log on to Pfeiffer's.com.
Looking for a home loan? Dakota Community Bank and Trust has an experienced team of home loan professionals ready to put their services to work for you. We've been recognized statewide multiple times as a champion of affordable housing for mortgage lending. Therefore, we believe we are the best place to get a mortgage. Stop into your local branch or visit dakotacommunitybank.com to find out what their mortgage team can do for you. That's dakotacommunitybank.com. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
At Dakota Community Bank and Trust, that's what we do.
We want amazing innovations to drive progress for generations. We want jobs and careers for generations. We want American energy production that protects our land and the wildlife for generations. Today, the advanced technologies deployed by the North Dakota oil and gas producers are making that happen. And with the promise of emerging technologies, the energy of North Dakota has a very bright future for generations to come. This message is brought to you by the North Dakota Petroleum Council. To learn more, visit energyofnorthdakota.com.
The Erlacher Angus Ranch is having their second production sale. You heard that right. June 1st at the Bowman Auction Market, Bowman, North Dakota. Greg will be selling his 18 to 24-month-old bulls that were late calvers. These bulls have not been offered for sale before. 25 head of quality bulls just in time to get out to pasture and cover females. For more information, you can find them on the web or on Facebook, Erlacher Angus and Sales. Again, Erlacher Angus Ranch, Part 2, second production sale, June 1st, Bowman Auction Market. MoPro Guide Service, the best on Lake Oahe. Brent and his staff will give you the most enjoyable fishing experience, always having the latest in electronics, gear, and the most comfortable Lund boat on the water. Fish with somebody who lives in Mobridge, South Dakota, the heart of Lake Oahe. If you need a place to stay, the Mo-Rest Motel has newly updated rooms with free internet, a family-owned and operated business. Go to OaheWalleyes.com. That's OAHE Walleyes.com for the best fishing experience Lake Oahe has to offer.
Looking for a home loan? Dakota Community Bank and Trust has an experienced team of home loan professionals ready to put their services to work for you. We've been recognized statewide multiple times as a champion of affordable housing for mortgage lending. Therefore, we believe we are the best place to get a mortgage. Stop into your local branch or visit dakotacommunitybank.com to find out what their mortgage team can do for you. That's dakotacommunitybank.com. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
At Dakota Community Bank and Trust, that's what we do.
Hi, this is Andy Murdoch with Pfeiffer's Auctioneers, inviting you to any one of these exceptional upcoming farm retirement equipment auctions featuring Pfeiffer's Auction Center of North America's annual spring auction, featuring a large inventory of farm, ranch, and construction equipment with lots of semis, vehicles, and recreational equipment. Pfeiffer's is also hosting farm retirement and estate auctions in April and May in Jamestown, Crosby, Voltaire, Animus, Rolette, Tuttle, Gladstone, Bismarck, Robinson, and Belle Fourche. For full inventory and online bidding on dozens of land and equipment auctions throughout the upper Midwest, log on to Pfeiffer's.com.
All right, stations, we are, let's see, 20 seconds coming in. Mark, 20 seconds. Breaking 8 music here. YouTube, I do have the rights to use this music, by the way. Thank you. Stations, 5 seconds. Welcome back, everybody. Dakota Prairie Outdoors Saturday edition. Good to have you along. I'm Scott Bachmeyer. Toll-free number, 888-9-DAKOTA. That's 888-932-5682. Again, 888-932-5682. My guest is Ron Ness, the president of the North Dakota Petroleum Council. And not only that, but he's also an avid outdoors person. We're going to talk hunting here after a little bit. But before we went into break, we were talking sales tax and the oil and commodity prices here. Ron, we all know that having, filling my tractors up for haying season this summer, I'm looking forward to paying less than I did last year. On the other hand, I'd like to see, so I have a lot of friends that lost their jobs that were doing some supplemental income because on the farm and ranch and having that oil job that they got laid off. So, it goes hand in hand with the commodities now, doesn't it?
Scott, there's a couple of things I suspect North Dakotans really get, and certainly my friends in the ag industry get it. And ag commodity prices pretty much strictly follow oil now. So as we look across North Dakota, you talk corn, soybeans, all of those things. When the price of oil is completely collapsed, depressed, those commodities are going to follow oil. So recovery of the oil price benefits across North Dakota. And of course, we were talking a little bit about sales tax, and I was doing some math the other day, and I think it's just pertinent to show that 50% of the state's revenues come from production taxes, which is the production off every barrel of oil, and the tax, the 10% net or gross tax. But sales tax, when I talk drilling rigs, I talk about the new wells being drilled and completed. Every one of those wells is about $250,000 in sales tax, and that's $25 million a month when we complete 100 wells a month in this state. When you start dropping that back to 10 to 20 wells, like I suspect is going to happen here, wow, that funds our government. That's the rest of our government funding. So we gotta fight our way through this thing. We all know how to hunker down in North Dakota, but it's you just look at your backyard there in Bowman County. Denbury Resources was planning to bring that big CO2 line across the border and start the activity down in Cedar Hills, which you haven't seen much activity in your neighborhood there for almost a decade. Yeah. And they've put that project on suspense now. So, and there's so much inventory being built up, and supply and demand are going to have to straighten out. So this isn't going to be just tracking with this COVID situation. It's really bad right now. We're going to get some demand back, but it's going to take quite a while to recover in terms of the oil price to make it economic in the Bakken. It just doesn't cut it at $20 oil or $30 oil. Frankly, we're going to need $45+ oil in order to attract that money to drill those wells.
Yeah. Before we get into the hunting side, give an update on the Keystone XL pipeline. Is that going to be happening? Because that's only like 17, 20 miles away from me here. What's happening?
Yeah,
with
the Keystone XL pipeline, I can't even remember how many years ago that project started in.
2008, was it? Or no? Yeah, it was a long time ago.
Oh, it was almost 15 years ago.
Yeah.
I think that's a $8 billion project. And, they've been staging up down. You see that every time you drive along there. They've had that pipeline out there by Gascoigne forever, but they've started. They were going to get the pipeline underneath across the border done, obviously, before November of this year. And they started. Now there's a judge, I suspect one of those judges that aren't so friendly to energy and agriculture that has kind of tried to block the project again now. If you saw that this week, but they were ramping up and they were going to go and they were going to get that border crossing done and then start from all different directions like they did on the DAPL line and try and get that pipeline in service. And that brings, I think it's 800,000 barrels of Canadian oil down into the Cushing market in Oklahoma. And I'm not sure that we're always completely crazy about bringing more oil, more of that
Right.
heavy sour Canadian oil into the market. But, in the refining world, it's different types of oil for different types of refiners. And so many of our American refiners didn't think there was oil like North Dakota and the Bakken had anymore, and that light sweet crude oil. So they'd converted to, heavy sour Canadian type oil. And it's either going to come from Venezuela or someplace overseas or Canada. So, I think that's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
I'd rather get it from Canada and North America than other places. So I hope they get that project done, and it's just an important infrastructure project.
Yeah. You seen that there was a big bump in protesters showing up in and around that Baker, Montana, and Ekalaka, Montana, and then down into Harding County, South Dakota, and those protesters didn't last long out in that rural country because like Camp Crook, South Dakota, they took care of those protesters pretty well, Ron. they ran them out of town.
That's a good segue, Scott. I'm going to take a day off next week and go out and social distance out and help a friend of mine who ranches and farms and lets me do a little hunting. I'm going to help him do a little work next week one day. And he was down in that area of DAPL, and he had a bunch of run-ins with those customers. And I sent him a note this morning. And I said, I think I'm going to come out on Wednesday. And I said, I probably won't be much help, but I'll pack a good lunch.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. We said this on break. I've been telling people on my daily program, if you have nothing going on and you're quarantined up and you're really waiting for hunting season, especially deer season coming around this fall, now's the time that a lot of these farmers and ranchers need a hand, and maybe aren't as busy as they will be when they get into full planting, when they don't have time here and there. But they'll send you on a stretcher fence and give you materials and go, and that's the time to really make those relationships. And I guess, when it comes to fencing, I don't know of anybody that really looks forward waking up in the morning and says, yes, I get to go fencing again this morning. So relationships are important now instead of meeting him 1 week before a season opens up, in my mind anyway. How about yours?
Well, I told him I'm going to need a little less. And he said, I've got miles and miles of fence. You can be all by yourself out there. And I said, well, I'm going to need a few tips and tricks, but I get the basic concept and just question of how tight you want it. Right. So I'm going to do it. I think it'll be fun. It'll be a great day to get outdoors and be nice weather next week. And, I think we're just very fortunate. You look across the country and you see some of these states closing down their hunting seasons.
Yes.
And different things. And, that's just a bad idea to me. It's like people, those of us that get outdoors, it's just a whole better week this week when you can get outdoors and be in the sun and hear the wildlife this morning. So I'm very glad that we haven't done that in North Dakota.
No, well, I hope they don't, because what better social distancing? Even right now it's turkey season, but also shed hunting season, and the amount of people coming through the place here to go to that federal land is just crazy. Every day during the week, it seems like there's 2 or 3 vehicles running up that way. So it's the way to get social distance. Now, turkey season is upon us, Ron. We only got a couple minutes before the next break here, so we'll make this short and carry it on afterwards here. But did you get a turkey tag this year?
I did get a turkey tag this year, and I'm gonna get out in pursuit here maybe later today or tomorrow morning. I should have been out there this morning. There's no wind right now. It's kind of nice.
Shotgun or archery?
Hunting turkeys with a bow is so much fun, but boy, you got to really be committed. And I think I might go with the easy route this year and take the shotgun again, because I don't really have the spot nailed in, but it's a great challenge with a bow. It's my brothers are probably listening, and if my son was up, he'd be giggling, because we know how hard it is. I've missed a whole bunch of times. For the times I've hit, I've missed a lot more. So It's really fun, isn't it?
I enjoy it. I really do. I enjoy it. But I like the spot and stock. Like you said, too, the commitment of setting up a blind and knowing that where that location is. I don't have that out here, and I don't have some of the areas to be able to put a blind up. So I like spot and stock, and I like to enjoy that a little bit more. Makes me feel like I earned it a little bit, instead of sitting and getting ticks all over. I did that one year. I had ticks in my eyelids, man. I fell asleep in the blind.
Oh, and by the way, yeah, the ticks are out this morning. I already had my dogs out, and there's no shortage of ticks. Do you bring a decoy with you, Scott, and call when you spot them and stalk them?
Sometimes I do, but mostly I just try to get down in the bottoms and start calling here. We'll talk more on the other side of the break. Ron Ness is my guest, North Dakota Petroleum Council president and outdoorsman. We'll have more coming up your way after these messages all across the Northern Plains and Dakota Prairie Outdoors Saturday edition on YouTube Live. Welcome back. Medicine Rock's Angus Ranch annual production sale, April 24th, 1 o'clock Mountain Time at the Bowman Auction Market, Bowman, North Dakota. Selling 85 head of bulls and 70 head of fancy commercial heifers. I talked to the folks at Medicine Rocks about birth weights. And when you're calving heifers, you want to sleep all night long.
Well, we expect our heifers to be able to do it on their own. We also don't push to any extremes. We believe in everything in moderation. Ideally, I'd like to see every calf hit the ground between 75 and 85 pounds out of our heifers. We just shoot for moderation and everything, and we sure don't have to touch many heifers, that's for sure.
Longevity, good udders, and structure to help you make a profit. You'll find that when you invest in Medicine Rock's Angus Ranch annual production sale coming up April 24th, 1 p.m. at the Bowman Auction Market. You can find more information at medicinerocksranch.com and find them on Facebook. Remember, it's not just about the pounds, it's about efficient pounds.
Hi, this is Andy Murdoch with Pfeiffer's Auctioneers, inviting you to any one of these exceptional upcoming farm retirement equipment auctions featuring Pfeiffer's Auction Center of North America's annual spring auction, featuring a large inventory of farm, ranch, and construction equipment with lots of semis, vehicles, and recreational equipment. Pfeiffer's is also hosting farm retirement and estate auctions in April and May in Jamestown, Crosby, Voltaire, Animus, Rolette, Tuttle, Gladstone, Bismarck, Robinson, and Belle Fourche. For full inventory and online bidding on dozens of land and equipment auctions throughout the upper Midwest, log on to Pfeiffer's.com.
Looking for a home loan? Dakota Community Bank and Trust has an experienced team of home loan professionals ready to put their services to work for you. We've been recognized statewide multiple times as a champion of affordable housing for mortgage lending. Therefore, we believe we are the best place to get a mortgage. Stop into your local branch or visit dakotacommunitybank.com to find out what their mortgage team can do for you. That's dakotacommunitybank.com. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
At Dakota Community Bank and Trust, that's what we do.
We want amazing innovations to drive progress for generations. We want jobs and careers for generations. We want American energy production that protects our land and the wildlife for generations. Today, the advanced technologies deployed by the North Dakota oil and gas producers are making that happen. And with the promise of emerging technologies, the energy of North Dakota has a very bright future for generations to come. This message is brought to you by the North Dakota Petroleum Council. To learn more, visit energyofnorthdakota.com.
The Erlacher Angus Ranch is having their second production sale. You heard that right. June 1st at the Bowman Auction Market, Bowman, North Dakota. Greg will be selling his 18 to 24-month-old bulls that were late calvers. These bulls have not been offered for sale before. 25 head of quality bulls just in time to get out the pasture and cover females. For more information, you can find them on the web or on Facebook, Erlacher Angus and Sales. Again, Erlacher Angus Ranch, Part 2, second production sale, June 1st, Bowman Auction Market. MoPro Guide Service, the best on Lake Oahe. Brent and his staff will give you the most enjoyable fishing experience, always having the latest in electronics, gear, and the most comfortable Lund boat on the water. Fish with somebody who lives in Mobridge, South Dakota, the heart of Lake Oahe. If you need a place to stay, the Morest Motel has newly updated rooms with free internet, a family-owned and operated business. Go to OaheWalleyes.com. That's OAHE Walleyes.com for the best fishing experience Lake Oahe has to offer.
Looking for a home loan? Dakota Community Bank and Trust has an experienced team of home loan professionals ready to put their services to work for you. We've been recognized statewide multiple times as a champion of affordable housing for mortgage lending. Therefore, we believe we are the best place to get a mortgage. Stop into your local branch or visit dakotacommunitybank.com to find out what their mortgage team can do for you. That's dakotacommunitybank.com. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
At Dakota Community Bank and Trust, that's what we do.
Hi, this is Andy Murdoch with Piper's Auctioneers, inviting you to any one of these exceptional upcoming farm retirement equipment auctions featuring Piper's Auction Center of North America's annual spring auction, featuring a large inventory of farm, ranch, and construction equipment with lots of semis, vehicles, and recreational equipment. Piper's is also hosting farm retirement and estate auctions in April and May in Jamestown, Crosby, Voltaire, Animus, Rolette, Tuttle, Gladstone, Bismarck, Robinson, and Belle Fourche. For full inventory and online bidding on dozens of land and equipment auctions throughout the upper Midwest, log on to pipers.com.
All right, stations, 20-second mark coming at right now. Check.
Time comes, I hope you're still around. I hope you're still around. I hope you're still around.
Welcome back, everybody. Dakota Prairie Outdoors Saturday edition coming with you in with music from Breakin' 8, Benny Paulson, my good friend up north. And we do have rights to use that. I talked to him in person. He actually gave me the CD. So there you go. Ron Ness, North Dakota Petroleum Council, is with me here this morning. Ron, welcome back to the second portion of the radio program. Before we get going talking more turkey hunting here, but I had a text message over the break, and they made a good point when you and I were talking about getting out and social distancing and going fix and fence. He says they should be encouraging everybody to get outside and do something just for the mental health part. And that's one thing I haven't thought about. That's a good point.
Yeah, I think it's a fabulous opportunity to get. I've noticed with my kids just having the ability to get them outside and just like release some of that tension. So we're talking turkey hunting, and I just got a text from Congressman Armstrong. He's got his daughter out turkey hunting, and called one in last weekend. They got so excited, so they're out again today. I said, "Oh, we screwed up again." I said, "Good for you. More time with her."
More time, exactly. Yeah, I've sent the message out, reached out to him, but we're going to try to get him on. Hopefully, maybe next week. Cross my fingers there. Hopefully, get a few more. So you got one turkey tag. You said how many turkey tags did your son get? You said you got 2 already, or was that somebody else?
No, I just have one tag.
Okay.
So he was expected to be in spring sports this year, so he didn't get one. So.
Oh, so he's going to be following with you today. That's awesome.
Yeah, he's going to learn to be a caller, maybe.
There you go. And that's a talent, man. I tell you what, if you can get that down, that's awesome. Hey, we have plenty to talk about. Let's get going. Trapping. You and I were talking about that over the break. How's calving going? I said, I wish I could be trapping and snaring at this time of the year because they are taking a toll on some of my baby calves. But you have a different way of looking at this here versus some pheasant country here, and tell us that.
Scott, I've been involved with habitat for a long time, with pheasants forever, and we're looking at the downturn in pheasants, and they got a lot of people trying a lot of different things to get some recovery going on the birds. Planting birds, planting roosters, planting bred hens. I took a little different route this year. I found a guy that I knew a long time ago, and he's a trapper, and he went out to our place southwest of Mandan and put out I think he ended up with about 35 to 40 traps. And I spent his trap line took him 4 to 6 hours to run, which was kind of a surprise to me. It's a big commitment.
Oh, yes.
And of course, a fully skinned out raccoon is not worth a whole bunch. And I think a fully skinned out stretched beaver was worth $9. So it's more of a passion than anything right now. But he trapped for about 5 weeks, and he pulled 32 coons, 8 beaver, and 4 skunks off of our property. And I think that's going to be an incredible at that time of year to pull all those critters off before they have their young ones and they start raiding all those pheasant nests. So I hope that's going to be a great benefit to the wildlife, and something that it was a lot of fun to go with them. I had never really done anything back in high school. I went along with one of my friends, but not on a trap line like this. And catching those beavers is interesting. Those things are destructive.
Oh boy!
We've got a creek that runs through our place, and man, they just destroyed everything. So,
and it doesn't take long for them to do it, does it?
No, and it's amazing. He'll pull up there and he'll look at that, and he'll know exactly how many beavers were in there and how many of this and that, and how far they're running. And I'm looking at it, I don't see anything other than a pile of sticks. So, and where the beavers run over and how they mark their territory, and it was really interesting. So, and catching those raccoons is something in and of itself. So, I'm hoping that's going to prove good results for us.
Yeah.
And,
Well, it's definitely not
it's
going to
amazing.
hurt, And are you familiar with the South Dakota Nest program that they do each year now? I think this is their second year. Are you familiar with that at all, Ron?
No, not at all.
Okay, it's something Governor Noem came up with where South Dakota residents can turn in the tails of any of these predators. Like you said, coons aren't worth much, but they're offering like $5 a tail for like coons and possum and all those nesting raiders, basically like that. So and they open this up for kids and adults and right now they're telling everybody to keep their tails and wait until this COVID-19 scare is over here. But I think it's a great program to not only get out there and take care of some of these, like raccoon, like you said, they're not worth anything on the fur side of things like coyotes were, but at least you're getting these kids out there and teaching them how to do this lost art, basically. So I think it's kind of a neat little program that they did down south.
Holy cow, Scott! If they do that for prairie dogs, that could be a secondary income for you out there.
That could be my extra income for me, especially if I only have to bring back the tail.
Yeah, might be John Ness's summer job out there helping you harvest prairie dogs. So
I don't know if I'm going to give him $5 a tail though. That's going to be that's. I don't have the stimulus to do that. Hey, the chronic waste disease is one of those things where, like I told you before, I've had people on talking about it, both sides, one side and the other, and it's just one of those things. I don't think it's going to go away, and I think it's going to get more and more talked about, and people, I'm worried, are going to start getting scared to go deer hunting here. What's the Mule Deer Foundation's take on chronic waste disease right now?
Well, Scott, as you know, I'm on the National Mule Deer Foundation Board of Directors,
yep.
And to me, this is the issue that hunters better watch. And I will get you an expert for your show one of these weeks because it is something that it's a little bit like the COVID situation. There's just so much unknown.
Yeah.
But the fear and the reactions that natural resource agencies or others may take, and when you look at Wyoming, Montana, the wolves now, they think the wolves are moving it up into Montana out of Wyoming, and the impacts and what we've got coming in. This has potential to shut down deer hunting, and as we know it today, much as we've shut down the economy today, this has an equal potential. And the fear of people not knowing whether that animal they harvest is safe for them to eat, and then the reactions that you're seeing some states suggest in terms of wiping out all of the bucks, just a complete wipeout, that is serious stuff. And I related back to mad cow disease before this COVID situation, but we need to come up with a test. That's one of the things, the Mule Deer Foundation, that we've been trying to become the resource in terms of, okay, here's what you do, and the inability to transport game and carcasses now across state lines. But we'd like to develop an education kit for every hunter, but B, find some type of a test similar to what we're probably going to need for COVID, that hunters can get the results quickly. Right now, it's a very long process, and people just aren't going to want to do that. In some of these areas across the country, it's getting to be a real fear issue, and we're gonna see it spread, I suspect, across North Dakota more and more, just because it's like anything else. So let me get you an expert, and I think you guys could have a great discussion on it because it's a very serious topic.
When you're talking about being on the national board for the Mule Deer Foundation, I can't imagine. The biggest fundraisers are getting people together and spending money and raising money like this. What's this going to be doing here, this COVID-19, for wildlife organizations trying to do their benefits? I mean, NRAs, the pheasants, turkeys, elks, mule deer, whitetail, it's got to be hurting them too.
Yeah, it's a big concern. And I think any nonprofit organization right now that, whether it be a church where people aren't going, and on the Mule Deer Foundation side, I believe that we've had 60 fundraisers across the western states where we have field representatives in virtually every state. 60 fundraisers have been suspended. We're trying to reschedule a number of those for fall, but this is really the busy time in most states. We're doing some online things. You can look at most of the wildlife organizations are trying to do some online raffles and auctions, and we've had some large sporting good outfits like Reed's and others step up and do some matches. You can go on to the Mule Deer Foundation, mdf.org, and make a contribution. I did that the other day, and they will match nice funds, but this is really starting to threaten the funding that goes into wildlife and habitat projects across the country. And the other thing in North Dakota is, the projects that these organizations do, that's still something that's in question. We've got a tree planting program, and I know there's trepidation. It's about time to kick off our planting for the future program. And, I'm saying, hey, we got to plant these trees. If we can't do this outside, then what can we do? And if you got it, it usually takes 7 to 10 people, and you keep it under 10, and you mask up for the people that are in close proximity or something. But we got to do these projects, and we got to get out there, I think. So.
You think it's going to turn around here? I mean, people got to get. Everybody's been reading on social media how Texas is going to open up, and North Dakota at the end of the month is going to reopen. And is this it's going to happen here? Because there's a lot of businesses that really need to get back working.
They do. I happen to be on the board of directors for the Sanford Hospital in Bismarck, and the big thing is, I think from a healthcare standpoint today, this is about us time. We're ready now. Our hospital and all those great workers at the emergency workers across the state, I think we're ready, and people are going to get this. It's a pandemic. We got a little lesson the other day about what a pandemic means. It means there's no cure. We're going to have to learn to adjust and live with this. And we're hopefully one of those states that I think can begin, getting back and engaging. About 15% of the people who get this are going to show symptoms. So if we have the healthcare facilities, and people that are vulnerable are going to have to adjust. And, my 92-year-old mother lives about 500 yards from me, and I haven't been over to see her. She hasn't been over to see me or my kids or my wife. So I don't know what that's going to look like, but it's not going away, and we're going to have flare-ups. You saw this LM wind facility in Grand Forks this weekend. Flare up. Those things are going to happen, I think, and we're going to have to cope with them. We're going to have to figure out, because just like chronic wasting, at this point, there's no silver bullet. How we manage and how we adjust, but we're going to have to move forward at some point.
But unlike chronic waste disease, we're not getting told by certain organizations to go out and just wipe out a whole bunch of people that are already healthy to take care of it, though. Those are tough calls, and we had to make sure that we didn't overwhelm. You just turn on the nightly news and watch New York City, and I think it was pretty much a wake-up call to everybody that we had to unfortunately we had to prepare for this and make sure that we could handle it. And it's not, sadly, we're not going to just turn the switch on May 1 or June 1 or July 1, and we're just going to all have to have thoughtful processes, and everything's going to become a risk reward type. Do I need to do this? Do I need to get on that subway? Do I need to get on that airplane? Do I need to, how do I interact? I think it's going to change. You're going to see a lot of additions to this Zoom and Microsoft Teams. Those softwares are going to get a lot better, and we're going to see a lot more of it. And it's going to change the way we work, the way we interact for a while. So, and how kids are going to school.
We won't be high-fiving after we whack those prairie dogs, Scott. Maybe that's.
I will. Come on. Yeah, I'm going to be that guy. I'm sorry. I can't hold back the excitement of seeing a prairie dog go flying about 5-6 feet in the air. I mean, that's just, as long as, if you don't want a high five, I'm still going to go for one.
All right. It might be a swing and a miss.
It might be a swing and a miss. Well, what are you looking at here for the rest of this year, and what's the outlook for the North Dakota Petroleum Council? Is it doom and gloom, or is it time that things are going to start turning around and moving things back into the right direction by, let's say June 20th, which is a phenomenal day in my life?
Well, we're having our big Bakken conference, so we've moved it to September 1 to 3, and I've kind of labeled that as a rebound event. I suspect it's going to get really tough this summer, and communities and everybody are going to have to understand this is what happens in the commodity world, and it's going to be tough in agriculture, I suspect, as well as. But the great news is the Bakken is it's just an amazing resource. It is one of the best resources in the world. Great resources always survive. Great resources, the rock doesn't go bankrupt. Unfortunately, ebbs in any commodity business is going to ebb and flow, but we're still operating at a really high level. You take this back to 1999, we had 0 drilling rigs. We probably had 3,000 employees in the North Dakota's oil industry. We had 83,000 barrels of oil a day. Today, we're still producing 1.3 million barrels of oil today. We've still got 30 to 35,000 employees out there. The bounce is going to be a little hard because we've become, it's become such a critical component of our state and our economy. But at the end of the day, I think this rock is the place where that dollar is going to come back to first. And we're going to have to become, we got to learn to compete with OPEC. We got to be able to play with the Saudis. We're in a world market now. And, you see the same thing in beef. We can't just think that we can cruise along at $60 oil. I thought we did great by getting this from an $80 oil play down to a $45 or $50 oil play. I'm afraid we're going to have to become a low cost supplier, and that's going to take technology. That's going to take innovation, and we're going to have to be a leaner, meaner. We're going to have to look at where the costs lie in terms of the Bakken. We've added so many costs that do they just regulatory costs and those things add up at a time like this.
They do.
I remember saying, it'll just be $1 a barrel to do this to your crude oil. Well, at $65 a barrel, you say, yeah, well, okay. Well, at $5 a barrel, you say,
wait a minute,
no way.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny how you compared it to the beef market here. What we're dealing with, the big packers making all kinds of money, and we're still sitting here struggling. It's not very far away, like you said. Quickly here, a text message comes in and said you're talking about a tree program. What does a person need to do to get more information about this?
We've got a tree program. You can go to the North Dakota Petroleum Foundation website. Just Google North Dakota Petroleum Foundation, and we've got it's called Planting for the Future. And we've got a program. We've partnered with the Outdoor Heritage Fund, and we plant trees, and we make it totally the landowner's project. The land we provide the trees, and we've got a couple of expert consultants that provide the consulting and the advice. But these are your projects on your property. You need to design them, follow the protocols, put together the crew. And typically, we provide the trees and the equipment, the planter, the fabric machine, if that's the route you choose to go. But these are the responsibility of the landowner, and I like that, Scott. You know that you take care of those trees when you go out there and plant them. It's a great opportunity to get your friends together, and all those folks that come out and hunt, send them an invite and tell them, hey, by the way, we're planting trees next week, and I hope to see you there. We're booked up for this year. And your local soil conservation district, of course, they plant trees also. So there's a lot of demand out there for trees. I've been surprised. We're actually probably going to start looking for somebody else that's interested in being in the tree planting process for us and being one of those advisors, because there's more demand than we ever thought there would be. And we're probably a year out right now, a year and a half out in terms of projects. And primarily, we love to do them in the oil and gas producing region, but we've done them all the way across, well east and north of Bismarck. But finding the time, the window is pretty short. So hopefully they're going to harvest those trees up at Towner, North Dakota here, and we're going to be able to get started because it's a good spring to get rolling. So we've got, I think we've planted about almost 100,000 trees so far. And this year, I think our number's somewhere around 20,000 or 25,000. The first year we did I think it was about 60,000 trees. So we probably need somebody, if there's somebody out there that's listening that wants to become one of our tree planting specialists and get a tree planter behind your your tractor and we'll hook you up if you've
Yeah.
got the time and the interest. It doesn't pay particularly well, but the rewards are great, right? Scott?
That's right. Like everything right now. Ron, appreciate you coming on the program here today and taking time out of a turkey hunting Saturday morning here for me. I really do appreciate that, sir. Thank you.
Thanks, Scott. Have a great day.
You bet. Ron Ness, North Dakota Petroleum Council. Hey, I'm Scott Bachmeyer. Dakota Prairie Outdoors can be heard on each one of the stations you're listening to this show on right now, every day, Monday through Friday. If you miss an episode, you can always go to my website, dakotaprairieoutdoors.com. Thanks for listening here. Also, remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel. It is Dakota Prairie Outdoors Radio. Thanks again. Have yourself a great weekend. Enjoy the outdoors. If you get a turkey, hey, send me a picture via social media. Have a good weekend. Eat some meat. Drink some milk. All right, stations, thank you for letting me be part of your morning. I really do appreciate that. Have a good day. And I'm going to sign off with you guys right now. On the YouTube side, hey, thanks again, Jamie. I appreciate it. You know, the hawks, the predator birds out in this country, I agree with you too. They're bad. Then we got more and more every year, and a lot of eagles this year too. So have yourself a good weekend, everybody. Stay safe, and I don't know, drink some whiskey maybe. That'll help me.